Welcome to my channel. Today I will be reading from the Nosleep subreddit, so let's jump into it. The title of this story is My Dead Friend Called Me at 3 a.m. This happened about 5 years ago when I was still in college. I didn't attend the funeral because I was out of town visiting another friend for the weekend, but I did call his parents to express my condolences. His mother answered the phone and she started crying and then screaming at me, saying that I should be ashamed of myself for not coming to the funeral and that I clearly wasn't a good friend to him. I tried to explain that I couldn't make it because I was out of town, but she wouldn't have it. They said that they were so distraught over losing their son that they hadn't been thinking clearly. And they were acting out a lot of their grief on me because I was the last person Jake had spoken to before he died. They asked if I could come over and talk to them, and I agreed. She kept screaming at me and calling me a bad person and hung up on me. After they composed themselves, they invited me in and we sat down at the kitchen table and they began to tell me what had happened the night before. And that was the last time I ever heard from them. And if you like this type of content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also hit that subscribe button because I put out new videos every single day. Thank you for watching and have a good one. I don't know whether to believe them or not, but it still freaks me out to this day. They said that they were woken up in the middle of the night by the phone ringing. When they picked up, they heard what sounded like Jake's voice on the other end saying, "Mom, Dad, it's me. Can I come over?" They said that they told him that he couldn't because he was dead, and then they hung up. Then they received another call from an unknown number. They let it go to voicemail, and when they listened to the message, it was just static. My very good friend Jake took his own life about 2 months prior to this incident, and that's when they called me. He was severely depressed and we were all very sad to see him go. The voicemail was just static. None of us said anything and it was just awkward. Then they started screaming at me that I ruined everything now because Jake was trying to contact them and I interrupted his ghost. They started making a big scene, so I just left. Then they asked me if I wanted to hear it again and I said sure. As soon as the voicemail started playing again, I heard a voice say, "Hello." I immediately hung up the phone and ran out of their house. But he had attempted to take his own life a couple times before that, and each time, he was sent home with just a slap on the wrist from the hospital and no real help. So when it finally went through, we were all shocked but not entirely surprised. He lived with his parents who were very religious and they decided to hold a funeral the day after the burial. After that, I didn't hear from them for a couple weeks until one night around 3 a.m. I was awoken in my apartment to my phone ringing. I checked the caller ID and it was Jake's parents' number. I didn't pick up because I knew they would be upset at me again for not being there for their son. So I just let it go to voicemail. The next morning, I checked the voicemail and it was just them saying that I needed to call them as soon as possible and that it was urgent. Still, I didn't call back because it was so early and I didn't want to talk to them that much anyway. A few hours later, I got a call from one of our mutual friends asking me why I didn't answer the phone call last night. I explained to him that I didn't want to talk to them, and he told me that I needed to call them back right away because they sounded really upset. I reluctantly called them back, and they started apologizing profusely for how they acted on the phone the previous week. When I arrived at their house, they greeted me at the door, sobbing and hugging me and thanking me for coming. They said that they were too scared to listen to the voicemail and they needed someone to come over and listen to it with them because they were sure that it was Jake's ghost trying to contact them. I thought that this was so weird, but I didn't want to upset them any further, so I just listened to the voicemail with them. When I turned around to thank them for letting me come over, they were staring at the phone in shock. Yeah, I haven't spoken to them since. So do you believe the op or not? Let me know in the comments below.